Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Houston and Sean podcast, episode number 22. We're coming at you live here. Just probably
It's
not
not
live.
live. By the time you're watching this, it was already recorded a few hours ago.
Well, it's live on my end.
It's live right now while we're recording it, but when people watch this, it's going to be pre-recorded.
Okay, I see where you're coming from. Noted.
We have to
I
be
mean,
accurate, Sean. We need to be accurate in this time of misinformation. Now, what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about what holiday is coming up in 2 days.
Christmas.
No. See, Sean and I, every time we do a podcast, it'll be 5 minutes before the podcast starts, and Sean will be like, what should we talk about? And I'm like, and then right as we're about to press record, Sean or I said at this time, I said, let's talk about Halloween. So that's what we're going to do because that's easy. When it's a holiday, it just makes it the topic easy.
Taking all the credit.
Are you doing anything for Halloween?
I'm gonna hang out with my boys. They, they'll do something. I don't usually do anything. I mean, we've already gone to trunk or treating, which is a new phenomena
What's it
where
called?
it's called trunk or treat, where you go to people's trunks and they all kind of gather around in like a parking lot.
So it's like trick or treat without the houses.
Yeah, it's like trick or treating from somebody's car.
It's yeah, it sounds easier. Now, us being old guys, I don't remember what Halloween was like for you, but there were a lot less rules on Halloween. They just kind of let us go in the neighborhood and sometimes my I think we would do it at my uncle's house. But I don't know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, so like pedophiles just had it way easier back then.
Yeah, they did. But we were in a neighborhood where, it was my uncle's neighborhood. He lived in a where nothing was going to happen.
Mm.
But now then, like if you're some city kid, you know, out there in the city, it would be a different story.
Like a whole part of Halloween has always been catching up on your horror movies. What scary movies have you not seen?
Mhm. And I was the kid who his mom would always let him watch R-rated movies.
Right.
So you would come over and we'd watch scary stuff, or people would come over, and my mom would get really into Halloween, and would, we'd rent like, the Friday the 13th movies, which were all terrible. But I don't know if you have a favorite scary movie.
I always like psychological thrillers a little bit more, so I liked movies like Saw and things like
Saw
that.
is, yeah, that's definitely a hard one for me to sit through.
Yeah,
And that was a
but I will
popular
say,
one.
I will say the movie that started the entire conflict between my mother and I and R-rated movies, it was called Scream, and that is because it came out in our class and everybody else could see it.
Yeah, I got to see it at the time.
Yeah, and I
And
did not get to see it.
and I
Like
remember it
my
was like
mother.
the big movie, and there's that big kid that went to school with us, Josh, whatever his last name was, the big kid with the orange hair, and he was
Yeah.
obsessed with Scream, and we would all talk about it, and I had seen it, and I think Scream 2 was out, and I got to see it in theaters when I was like 9 or whatever. Um, and so you and your mom got into a fight over it.
Oh, it was a big fight. I mean, it was like I said, it was the first movie in which I was not, that I really wanted to see, and she didn't let me want. She sort of exed it, and I just sort of kept going with like not being allowed to see it and wanting to see it. It's interesting too because our whole class would watch it. Not that I was a little younger in the class, but even your age group should really not have been watching that movie.
Exactly.
But it was a bunch of, I mean, our class was a little bit a bunch of misfits, and I mean, and I think that sort of enabled it too, like a little bit.
Yeah, like I mean, we were in a weird class with weird people like us. I mean,
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't think if I had like, I don't know if we were like 10, 11, 12 at the time, I wouldn't let my 11-year-old watch Scream.
right.
It's it no, it's that's too young, I think.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
you never know. Kids are smarter these days than they were back then. So maybe they can handle it earlier. But I would be like, no, that's too much. You got to start with like Frankenstein and all the lame ones first, and then you can work your way up the screen.
I see the fascination with ratings, even with my son Will, who's 8. He's like, "Oh, that's PG-13,"
Yeah,
and it's just an enticing thing.
of
But
course.
it's very different, when you cross the R-rated border, because I mean, that's really when movie makers can sort of do whatever they want. I mean,
Basically, yeah, it's I grew up differently than a lot of kids in that I was always allowed to watch that stuff. But I don't know if I would let my kid, yeah, watch Scream. I mean, Scream isn't like the worst horror movie. It isn't like the most graphic, but still, it's pretty disturbing. I mean, parts of it.
right.
Did you get you, when did you get to see it?
I think I saw it at your house. I mean, I think it was
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
think it was around that time. It was just not, not under, you know, I wasn't supposed to, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, but I also remember watching Silence of the Lambs with my dad when I was a teenager, and it was amusing to mostly just watch my dad,
Yeah.
because he was like this.
He was having a hard time with it.
See, like, I have no idea what you just said. And that's sort of what his goal was just to sort of, you know,
Yeah, I watched that with my mom when I was 5. She tells this story over and over again about how she watched Silence of the Lambs and she was too scared to watch it by herself. And
mm,
since my mom kind of raised me as a kid, it was just her and I, she had me sit with her and watch Silence of the Lambs. But here's
yeah,
the thing about Silence of the Lambs when I was seeing it when I was 5.
mm,
You don't really understand it when you're 5. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's a lot of like it's what they're saying that's scary. And there's some really graphic violence in it later, but I
Even as
think
a teenager, I think that's why I didn't care,
yeah,
and mostly fascinated with my father
yeah,
was I didn't know what was going on. I mean, when she was in the house and it was pitch dark and she was trying to find him, I was just like, yeah,
yeah,
and I think she was wearing, or no, he was wearing some vision goggles, and she was blind, basically, because of the dark.
yeah, yeah, something. But did you like Silence of the Lambs later on?
No, I think honestly, I think the teenage years and the viewing then ruined it. So I don't know if I've ever watched it. But now it's just like I know the plot, I know the characters.
Yeah.
I honestly preferred Hannibal, watching that with you later, when when Hannibal ate the guy's brains
We
and
didn't
was
we see that
wow.
in the theater? Did we go to when we were like later, like when we were like 17, we went to see it in movie theater.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and him eating the guy's brains while he was awake.
That's all I remember. That's all anyone remembers from that movie is Ray Liotta getting his brains eaten. That's all I
He
remember from that.
he
The
did great.
Hannibal's
I
a
mean, can you
sequel.
imagine? Can you imagine? I would be so. It's not only that it's scary and like it's just like humiliating. And the
That's
kid, I remember the Asian kid on the plane, and he gives him a piece of Ray Liotta's brains.
I don't remember that. Maybe I should watch it again. I remember
It's
it was
the
that
it's
great, but it
it's
was
Hannibal
entertaining.
Lecter escaping on a plane at the end of the movie, and so to top it off, he has, like, their dinner plate, but then he
Yeah,
has a special piece of brains, and the kid wants to eat the brains of Ray Liotta's brains. Yeah,
that's disgusting. And of course, that whole movie I think was just like, we don't know how to make a sequel, so let's just make it as outrageous as possible and just have
right,
Ray Liotta getting his brains eaten. Silence of the Lambs was a movie that didn't need a sequel. Like,
right.
but you know how Hollywood is. They got to make
I
sequels to
really
everything.
cannot do it the when the actress or actor changes, but the character is the same.
I
Because I
hate
I
that.
just I don't my brain just doesn't connect. It doesn't connect the dots
They
very
replaced
well.
they replaced Jodie Foster with what's her name? And I used to have a crush on her back in
Julianne Moore, is it?
Julianne Moore, yeah, who I used to have a big crush on her. But yeah, it was like a completely different actress, and that threw me off too. It's like I hate when they change actors and actresses.
And even if it's a good actress, I'm just, yeah, I want to see the same actor, actress, you know.
It's
And
like
if they
Batman
don't get the same
Begins.
one, just leave out the character.
Yeah, like Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, they switched Katie Holmes to Maggie Gyllenhaal. Do you remember that?
No, I didn't watch those as much as I probably should have.
Yeah, they changed and it didn't really bother anybody because like Katie Holmes, I think she sucks. But
Right.
bad actress, but they made a better choice. I don't know why they did that.
They should have maybe just chosen Gyllenhaal from the beginning.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so so what costume was your favorite costume at one of the Halloweens?
I don't, that's a question people ask a lot. I think one year I was Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, and that was the one I was the most excited for.
Hmm.
And then I remember uh, afterwards, I went to a costume party when I was in my 20s, and I got really drunk and dressed up as a clown at this, my friend's, he used to have a Halloween fog party. And
Okay.
you'd go in the house and it would be fogged out. You couldn't see anything for like, and it was too much, first of
Yeah.
all. And then I got drunk and I started wandering around the neighborhood, but I don't know why, because I got lost. And I was dressed as this clown. And the neighbors were outside staring at me like, who is this creepy guy dressed like a clown? And I was asking people, do you know how to get back to Ryan's house?
Hmm.
And I don't remember what happened, but eventually I made it back.
Well, that's good. I wonder if somebody showed you the way.
So I think, yeah, my buddy Ryan was there and directed me back. And I woke up with my face smeared in clown paint. But, anyways, I digress. That was a rant.
Hmm.
What's your
Well,
favorite?
you probably were the clown that most liked. What did you like, Budweiser, or what did?
I don't remember what I was, probably Colt 45s. I drank a lot of Colt 45 back then because it was cheap and it got the job done. But these days, I don't. What was your favorite Halloween costume, Sean? Sean, Sean. All right, he froze. Um, uh, this is a good time for me to start talking about Sean. Sean is I'm buying the contract for this show. Oh, he's gone. Maybe he'll come back. Maybe he'll come back. Oh, he's coming back. He's coming back, folks. I was going to tell everybody the dirt on Sean, but it looks like he's coming back to the show. I cannot see him. Hello, Sean. Hello, hello. Technical difficult. Oh, there he is.
Hey,
I was kind of saying some stuff about you, but we're just going to ignore that now that you're back.
my
Um,
freaking phone overheats. I hate that.
yeah, you froze, and I was talking to you, and I was like, "Why is he not talking?" And then you're just like,
It's still like super, super hot. I wish that I could freaking use my computer, but I don't know why, but the camera is not working.
"You see what we're dealing with, people? This is why all you
And
watchers
I,
start sending us money. We got to look at this. He can't even afford a computer. He had to sell it on the streets, and now he's on his
I
phone.
have a computer. It's right here.
No, he sold it. That's not that. Don't come on. We want money. He needs money for teeth. Teeth, as you can see, he's rubbing his teeth. They're gonna fall out.
That's because that's right. They will fall out, but not yet.
Anyways, I was asking you what your favorite Halloween costume was.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if I cut off again, I apologize. I don't know. I was Santa Claus one year, and actually one of my sons is Santa Claus this year. And as we walked in the trunk or treat, everybody was talking about him. It is a very noticeable costume, you know.
It
To
throws you off because it's a different holiday.
Yeah,
You don't see that very often.
yeah, exactly. It's like what the heck? What is Santa Claus doing here? It's like
Are you
news for you
doing?
kids. There is no Santa Claus.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. Kids, I what if there's a kid watching this show, huh? And you just ruined his dreams.
Okay, we'll cut that part out then.
No, we're not cutting that out. There's no. This is the podcast where people learn the hard truths.
Houston only cuts out embarrassing stuff, usually about himself.
That's because I have final edit.
It's true.
And we
I'm
we
watching
when
the
we
show
made
and it's like
videos all the time, I'd cut stuff out, and you'd be like, "Why'd you cut that out?" And I'd be like, "Because I have final edit."
I'm watching I'm watching the playback and I'm like, and bloop. Anyway, so where'd
There
that part
there
go?
there have been times though where the audio did cut out, and I had to cut it for that reason. So there may have been
Sure.
there may have no, there not recently. I cut stuff out, but there have been times where it seems like I cut stuff out, and it's because you or my audio got choppy.
Okay, I'll buy it.
But we're here to talk about Halloween, not my censoring.
You seem a little Halloweeny today.
I got my hair cut, and I'm
Let me
self-conscious.
let me see. My hair, you can't be shorter than mine. Yeah, wow, that's cool. I like it.
I've been wearing a hat,
It's like
but
a Centerville cut. It's like an undercut.
it's I get it cut where it's long on top, see, but it's on
Yeah,
the sides, it's really short. And
yeah.
it just needs to grow in for a couple days.
Mm.
And I haven't, but I'm dressed in a Halloween hoodie, I guess. I gotta go to work in 2 days, and we're supposed to dress up in a costume. I'm thinking of going as Waldo.
That'd be funny. I
Because I
like
kind
that.
of he kind of looks like me a little bit, doesn't he? But if I had the glasses and the red shirt,
Yeah, somebody was doing a Bob Ross at the trunk or treat. I liked that costume.
yeah, Bob Ross is a popular one, actually.
Is it?
Yeah, Bob Ross is popular. He actually a lot of young people still watch Bob Ross because they're relaxing to
I
watch.
like yeah, I like Waldo that idea too.
And I'll just hide at work all day, and they'll be like, "Where's Waldo?"
Yeah,
He's in the bathroom looking at his phone.
or something.
No, I'm a good worker.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's a question for you. If Houston could be one character on this show, what would you want him to be? Let's give a few options. He could be who was the guy? Who was the motorcycle guy? What's his name?
Gurf,
Yeah,
the guy with
Gerf
the
Gerst.
beard.
Yeah, Gerf Gersten.
I retired him a while ago because I started getting superstitious. And every time I'd start doing Gurf videos again, something in my personal life would go wrong. So I stopped doing it. But I've
I'm
been tempted.
superstitious too sometimes. It's like, no, this number 666, totally random
Mm.
towards anything is like, oh, now I'm totally in bad luck because the devil might be around. But
I don't
you
have a
know,
beard. I'd have to order another beard and wig to bring
mm.
Gurf back. Because my
So we
buddy
we're
Dave,
thinking about doing a character show. I did tell Houston, probably to stay in character. He's gonna need to tell me what my character is because I think what happens is you start to have a character and then it goes back to your normal self because I'm just being totally normal. So you just have to tell me what character I need to play, and then I think it'll work that you'll stay in character.
I just get lazy and don't want to stay in character.
I could be British.
Is that a character?
It's a character. It's just yes, indeed.
I don't, that wasn't very English.
I have to kind of get going. Let me see if I could talk just for a moment. I could be Paul from the Beatles. Yeah, Paul from the Beatles.
I'm Paul. I'm Paul. I'm George. And I'm John. And I'm Ringo. And I play the drums.
I could be Chris Martin from Coldplay.
Oh, did I tell you about him?
Yeah, you said he went to your work.
Yeah, well, I can't talk about that on the podcast, but yeah, well, I'll tell you off. I already told you off the air about the toaster. I'll
No, you
I,
didn't tell me about the toaster.
I'll tell you later. I can't talk about it on here.
I'm Chris Martin from Coldplay, and I like to put my thing in a handy dandy coaster.
Let's not do the English character.
We've had so many English guys in our lives too that
Vinny, remember Vinny?
are you still recording? It says that you're not recording.
No, it's still recording.
Okay, perfect. Just doesn't tell me.
Why you thought it wasn't recording?
It told me last time. It told me until I signed off. Then when I came back, it didn't tell me.
Well, I'm sure this is fascinating for people watching right now. They're talking about whether they're recording or not.
There's a lady right outside here.
Now it's reached a whole new level of it's probably time to end the podcast.
It's time to end you. Oof.
Now it's turning into threats.
This is a knuckle sandwich for Houston, ladies and gentlemen. Oof.
Now Sean's drinking
Houston's favorite dessert is a knuckle sandwich.
knuckle sandwich. What is this, 1994?
That was when Will Smith had a rap record after his.
Okay, we are way off topic now. This podcast has gone way off the deep end.
What are the paintings behind you?
That is a piece by my dad. The one up top is this creepy painting that I've had since I was like four, of these creepy heads at a bar. I don't know
Okay.
who did that. It was a friend of my dad's. And then this one here was another one of my dad's. The one over there is a copy of a Jamie Wyeth painting.
I have artwork in my room now. I like it. I was in my room for about a year before I did put absolutely anything up, and now I have it like exactly saying what I wanted to say, and I feel more at home there.
That one up there, you see it?
Yeah,
That's a David Lynch original.
I didn't know he did art.
Oh yeah, he started as an artist. That's how he knew my dad.
Yeah,
They met.
David Lynch is. I mean, his movies are really fascinating.
He's one of my biggest influences, and I got to meet him a few years ago in Philly, and he was the only guy that they let smoke in the building
That's cool.
because he's David Lynch, and he's like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to come if I can't smoke in the building. I mean, I don't know if he said that, but they were just like, it's David Lynch. He's allowed to smoke. So he was chain smoking all night. And we sat next to him and he looked at me and just out of nowhere, he said, I remember the first time I saw a missing persons poster. And he said that for no reason. And then he went off onto the next conversation. And I was like, what was that?
Yeah, you even have to sort of be high society, I feel like, to even really understand who David Lynch is if you're watching.
No,
Because he's not.
David Lynch has a big following now of like younger, like film students love David Lynch, and Eraserhead is a big cult classic, and it's It's yeah, but a lot of it is less like you have to be open-minded, I guess. And a lot of it I don't think means anything.
How about Blue Velvet?
Blue Velvet, that's his most coherent movie, actually. Um,
Who's in it? There's a
Dave,
lady.
Dennis Hopper, Laura Dern, Isabella Rossellini, um, and Kyle MacLachlan. And Dennis
And
Hopper is a
sort
psych.
of, it's just very violent, I feel like.
It was disturbing as possible. Um, all of his movies kind of are.
Dennis Hopper was a character in and of himself, you know.
He was playing a psychotic version of himself, basically. Because I was a big Dennis Hopper fan for some reason when I was a teenager, probably because of he was bad back in
Mm.
the day. Um, and that was one of the first movies he made after getting sober was Blue Velvet, and it was his big comeback movie.
And then Speed.
And of course, Speed was probably his biggest movie.
Yeah.
Seriously, it probably was.
Or Easy Rider, maybe.
Well, that was the movie that made him famous, but Speed was probably his highest grossing movie.
What was the ending line? We failed? Or
We blew
no,
it.
we blew it. We blew it. We
Every time
blew
I
it.
watched that, I'd be like, God, Peter Fonda is such a bummer. Like, I would not want to hang out with this guy on my fun road trip. We blew it. Like,
Yeah.
really? We're just chilling here by the fire, and you just had to be all depressing. He's like, we blew it. And Dennis Hopper's like, ah, what do you mean we blew it, man? What do you mean we blew it? And he's just like, we blew it. And I was just like, God, this guy's such a drag.
You need to bring back the art scene. Go to New York City. What are you doing in Delaware? Go to New York. You have more of a chance to do something big
I
with
don't
art.
want to live in New York City. It's
Ah,
expensive.
you need to sacrifice.
I never wanted to be. Have you ever lived in a big city before?
No, I'm not super a city buff, and now I
Neither.
can't. My son's sort of gloomy to this glue as in GLUE. They do to like this random, very Mormon place, but I sort of have wanted to experience life differently, you know. But
You can take vacations. You don't have to move to New York City. You could come down here and we could go to New York City.
you know what we
It's
should
only two
do?
hours away.
Well, I have an idea of what we should do next. Burning Man at the end of next June
Okay.
in Vegas. I
I was
think
just,
you and I should meet up. We go to Burning Man.
I'll do it because I was just talking to someone about Burning Man and how fun that would be to do. Let's do it.
Get some get some shrooms or something and go.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, that'd be fun. And then we'll do that in 2025, hopefully right before law school. I have been pounding the books to be able to go, so at least for me.
How's that
So
going?
good. I mean, I sponge fool a lot. I mean, the test is next week. I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like I stand as much of a chance as I ever could, and way more of a chance than I did 5 months ago. You know, because I've been pounding the books. I don't really know how it'll go. I think I'll get I'll get the basic score that I need is my
Mhm.
plan, and then I'll probably hopefully get a little bit higher than that. But I don't think I'll need that much higher, and then I'll just because the school's not that competitive.
Right.
So then I'll go, and I'm freaking 40, and I'm going. Well, I'm not 40 yet, so but I'm close to 40, and I'm trying to like put my foot in the door for like this entire career, and it is a little daunting because I feel like I've wasted a lot of time like farting around this with other jobs that have not meant anything to me, you know, and so it's like why not try this big job that could mean something to me? You know, my parents are against it, so I have to do it sort of on my own.
Mm.
In
Why are they
fact,
against it?
both of them have sort of been scarred by the
Oh, yeah.
field. I
Yeah.
mean, my dad hated it, and then my mom had to witnessed my dad hating it. So I think that was both very scarring. However, as most sons, I am definitely not my father. So it's like, whereas I feel like you sort of like have your dad's gene to do what he was doing.
Yeah.
And even still, like it's a very related for me and my dad. Like he had all sorts of things with law, but and to me it makes the most sense. I mean, but so for me it's like here goes nothing. I'm gonna give it my best shot. I got to. Because I've hated everything else. I mean, with a passion, construction. I absolutely hated it with a passion.
Like
And
working
the
for the
other,
beverage place.
yeah, that was fine. It just didn't really go anywhere. And that's what I found with a lot of jobs is they're fine. They just don't go anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very true. We don't
And
love
so to conclude this Halloween special with our
Halloween
occupations,
special.
we hope you guys have a great Halloween. Don't get drunk and walk around a neighborhood as a clown
You'll get
because
shot.
yeah, it's a very mixed signal, right? Like
Yeah.
people want to enjoy clowns, they love clowns. Kidding. A lot of people are
Nobody likes or enjoys clowns.
a lot of
Everyone
people are
hates.
extremely scared of clowns. Yeah.
Everyone's scared of them.
That was Stephen King's fault, but
Yeah.
well, we love you, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned for our next episode. Hasta la vista.